Coming to you live from Los Angeles, it's the 10 Point Podcast. My name is Bruce, and you're now the property of the 10 Point Podcast. A citizen of nowhere. The Geneva Convention is void here. Amnesty International doesn't know we exist. When I say your ass belongs to us, I mean exactly that. Locked up in here with me this week. First, if I was to get you flowers, let me rephrase. If I was to let you suck my tongue, would you be grateful, Chris?
You watch your fucking mouth.
And secondly, he wishes he'd play some of the salmon spawning scenes again. He found them intensely erotic. It's Andy.
Oh, a random one to go for.
We are the 10 Point Podcast. You can find us on all podcast apps and websites and all that sort of stuff. You can find us on YouTube as well. 10 Point Podcast over there as well. Video versions where you can see us fooling around as well as listening to us joking around. Send us messages on Facebook and on Twitter. We're 10 Point Podcast on both of those as well. That's all letters, no numbers. We want to hear what you think, what you want us to watch, what you thought of what we watched, and how good and bad our reviews are. Andy tells me we've got a super fan that he has to shout out.
We do. He's been mentioned on a few episodes. He's powering through them right now. It's Sean.
The legend that is Sean, yeah, who made an appearance.
Numerous episodes.
I think 20 episodes in a row he was mentioned on, give or take. I think.
He's now finally listening to them all for the first time ever, and he thinks we're amazing. So
I'm assuming he's seen Face Off. He seems like the kind of character.
Oh yes, definitely.
So he'll be hearing this, and I'm sure.
And he'll hate us more.
He'll be blushing at us mentioning his name. And so normally at this point, I would say, what have we been watching in the last week? But everybody will know what we've watched in the last week because they'll have watched our Top Gun Maverick, etc. episode that we did, where we talked about the new Top Gun movie, which you have to watch it to see if you liked it or not, and other bits and pieces, mainly TV related, since that's where all Hollywood is heading these days. Other reviews and things over on that special episode on, I'm assuming, the podcast feeds and YouTube feeds, Andy, would that be correct? They can find that.
As long as there's no technical difficulties.
There we go. So hopefully that has showed up for all of you, and you've all heard it by now, and if you've missed it, have a look for it. Which means, gives us extra time, which means we can fire on to already the quickest ever. We've got to point number 1, I think, on the podcast. What is the point on the 10 Point Podcast? This week, the 1997 action crime sci-fi thriller Face Off, brought to us by Touchstone Pictures, who have brought us such things as Starship Troopers, Gone in 60 Seconds, Oh Brother Where Art Thou, Reign of Fire, and The Prestige. That's a good mixture.
All the Chris films.
All about the Prestige.
Yeah, no, Gone in 60 Seconds.
Oh no, I never picked that. You picked that as well.
All of us have picked those ones before. So not just Chris. Paramount Pictures, one of the biggies. They've done Grease, Forrest Gump, Beavis and Butthead Do America, which is a sequel coming out soon that we're all very excited about, and Napoleon Dynamite as well for Paramount. And then this one, Douglas Reuther Productions, and I've got Douglas, I've got brackets Michael, as in yes, Michael Douglas was a producer. It looks like he basically set up a production company, made a film called The Ghost and the Darkness, and then made Face Off, and that's the end of all movies this production company made. So Michael Douglas, I need to get this Face Off made. I've got this premise going around Hollywood. It's called Face Off. I need to make this film. So yeah, one of 2 films he made as part of that company. And then WGC Entertainment, who very similarly made 2 other films as well as Face Off. So they knew, like, we've done it. That Face Off was made. Films are complete.
It's the pinnacle of movie making.
Cinema, they cannot beat this. So they just cut it off there after that. So that's who made the film. The film was written by Mike Werb. Famous things he's written in the past: The Mask. I mentioned The Mask a few weeks ago, but The Mask, the Jim Carrey one. Then he made then wrote Face Off, and then since then, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, Curious George, the 2006 film, a television show called Unnatural History that I've never heard of, so basically kind of peaked by the late 90s. Also written by Michael Colleary, who wrote Death Wish 5, The Face of Death. I had to put that in because it had the word face in it, and Face Off. And then Lara Croft Tomb Raider as well, Tarzan, a television show that didn't last very long, and then Professionals, a TV show that is still going according to IMDb, but I don't think it's come out in a while. The film, directed by John Woo. He of a very famous name. I definitely know the name John Woo. The big films he's directed are, I'll start with A Better Tomorrow and Hard Boiled. They are the English titles for 2 Hong Kong films that are very popular and very significant that he made. Those, as well as a whole bunch of other Chow Yun Fat movies. John Woo, he's his main man. Chow Yun Fat is in a bunch of his films. Then he transitioned with the success of those over into Hollywood. He made Hard Target, a Jean-Claude Van Damme film that I have to give Jean-Claude a shout out. Then Face Off, and then Mission Impossible 2, Paycheck, and then he travelled back over to the Asian cinema again, and Red Cliff, a Chinese film. He's the most significant one he made off the back of Paycheck. But essentially, the Hard Target through Paycheck was his kind of Hollywood spell in the 90s through the 2000s. The film stars, that's Face Off, stars as Sean Archer / Castor Troy, John Travolta. We've done pretty much every significant John Travolta film. But famous for Saturday Night Fever, Grease, Pulp Fiction, and Get Shorty, what he's famous for. We've done a few others on here. Don't need to go too deep into John Travolta. And also starring as Castor Troy / Sean Archer, we have Nicolas Cage. Was not anticipating that. That's one for the YouTube viewers. Nick Cage, as seen in studio. I didn't do his full background. I just did his run here. So he won the Best Actor Oscar for Leaving Las Vegas in the early 90s. And then he reeled off back to back. So Oscar winner, Leaving Las Vegas. Then he went The Rock, Con Air, Face Off, City of Angels, Snake Eyes, 8mm, Bringing Out the Dead. And in the year 2000, he did Gone in 60 Seconds. Which we have done on the show before. But yeah, his back-to-back of winning an Oscar and then going The Rock, Con Air, Face Off. That's quite a triple header to go for an Oscar winner. Face Off, made on a budget of $80 million, opened in the US for $23 million. Final US gross, $112 million. Final worldwide gross, $245.5 million. So essentially trebled its money. Not too bad. Released 27th of June 1997 in the States. We had to wait till November the 7th, 1997 for it to come out in the UK. Either way, both of them means that it was in the 1998 awards season. It was nominated for an Oscar, Face Off. It was nominated for Best Sound Effects Editing. It did not win. It lost to Titanic. Which I think Titanic won every Oscar that year. So that was the only Oscar nomination. Face Off did get 6 nominations at the MTV Movie Awards in 1998, though, so a bit more action for Face Off here. Nominated for Best On-Screen Duo, John Travolta and Nicolas Cage, and it won the MTV Movie Awards.
Yeah, no.
Nominated for Best Action Sequence, The Speedboat Chase. It also won the MTV Movie Award for that. Nominated for Best Villain, Nicolas Cage / John Travolta. They were both nominated for being Best Villain. They lost... And they lost to Mike Myers as Dr. Evil in Austin Powers International Anime. So it's quite weird that the two of them were nominated for the one role and lost to an actor who was playing 2 roles. If you don't say I thought it was quite intriguing. 1998. Best Male Performance. Nicolas Cage was nominated and John Travolta separately nominated. They weren't nominated together. They both got nomination. And they both lost. They lost to Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic, because Titanic came out this year. Best Movie. Shocker of all shockers, Titanic won that as well in 1998. So I think Face Off was unlucky. It came out when Titanic came out. It might have done a bit better. However, there's only one awards show we really care about over here. But it's Pointies. So another 2 awards shows we care about. The 1998 Saturn Awards for the best in sci-fi, fantasy, horror, science fiction stuff and all that. 9 nominations for Face Off at the Saturn Awards. Best Makeup. Strange one, I guess. Face cutting off. Yeah, it lost to Mimic, a film that I'm aware of, but I've completely forgotten what it's about. Best Music, not something that jumped out at me, but it lost to Men in Black. I thought, fair enough. Yeah, bit of a banger or 2 in there. Best Writer, the aforementioned characters, it won. It won the Saturn Best Writers Award, so it won. Best Performance by a Younger Actor or Actress, Dominique Swain in the role of Jamie. Lost to Jenna Malone in Contact. I can't say I'm familiar with that role either, but she did not win. Best Supporting Actress, Joan Allen as Eve Archer. She lost to Gloria Stewart, and I've put in brackets, as the old lady in Titanic, basically. It's been 84 years, lady. So she won that one. Best Actor, Nicolas Cage. Best Actor, John Travolta, nominated separately. Both lost to Pierce Brosnan for Tomorrow Never Dies.
That's like the worst James Bond film.
Having that, that's now on the list. Tomorrow Never Dies is the most underrated James Bond film I think you'll find. So we'll maybe come into that in a few seasons' time. Best Director, John Woo. He won Best Director at the Saturn Awards for Face Off. And the final one, Best Action/Thriller/Adventure Film. It lost to LA Confidential, which seems like very strange that put in at the Saturn Awards, because it's very much a drama, I would have said. There you go, the Saturn Awards, it won a couple. Not too bad for Face Off. I'm already blowing up my voice box here, and I've still got the synopsis to read people. RCS, apparently, is the name of the person who wrote this. And bear with me, it's a chunky one, but it's going to be better than the bloody Top Gun one we had. And Face Off goes as follows. Sean Archer is a government agent who for 6 years has been trying to apprehend terrorist Castor Troy, who tried to kill him, but ended up killing Archer's son instead. When Archer corners Troy, Troy tells Archer that he planted a bomb that will go off unless he lets him go, but Archer thinks that Troy is bluffing, so a fight erupts that leaves Troy comatose. But later, when they go through some of his brother Pollock's things, they discover that Troy was telling the truth. All what they need now is to find out where it is, and the person who knows is Pollock's. And the only person that he will talk to about it is his brother Castor, but unfortunately he is a vegetable. A government official then suggests to Archer that he assume Carter's identity and ask Pollux about the bomb. So she brings him to a doctor who has perfected a method wherein the face of one individual is removed from him and placed on another. Archer agrees. The operation is a success, so Archer, as Troy, goes to the prison where Pollux is being held and successfully gets him to tell him where the bomb is. Meanwhile, Troy, who was believed to be comatose, awakens and forces the doctor who operated on Archer to place Archer's face on him. He then goes to the prison as Archer and taunts Archer by telling him that he has destroyed all documentation of the operation and eliminated everyone who knew about it. He then takes his brother out and leaves Archer in prison. But Archer somehow manages to escape and is now trying to find someone who will believe and help him while Troy is plotting something. And that's where it ends. So, thank you, RCS. That's the first half of the film written there. That's what the film's about. Who picked it? It was Chris. Please talk, Chris, so I can rest.
It's a film I've not seen for a long time, and going by my theme this year of things that have happened in movie that are now possible, I thought, well, face transplants made a big thing in 10 years ago. Yes? You not heard that?
No.
I'm being genuinely serious. Like, somebody accidentally shot himself in the face with a shotgun, and then they managed to get like their face transplanted.
So do
like
they
2012.
take someone else's face? Or
I
do
didn't
they...
read that much into it.
Okay. Because I thought you were going to be lucky. I was going to argue this case of no one can have a different face put on them. But then I saw them making the ear in the surgery beforehand. Yeah. Actually, I was like, he might get away with technology that's now been invented because they're actually making an ear.
Where the fuck did you get that picture from?
Thanks off.
What have you used it for?
What was it? That's up for my wedding day. The last time I was clean shaven, that's for my fucking wedding, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I'll go into more detail off thing because I can't bother looking for it. But yeah, there's been at least 2 or 3 face transplants.
I have heard of face transplants, but I wasn't sure if they actually just remade someone a face or if they took a face off someone and popped it on someone. So,
yeah, I don't know. I haven't read all the details.
Your point. It can be done. Andy's proving it right in front of us. Have we seen it before? I have seen it before, and I watched it between seasons 1 and 2 of the podcast because I've got like a movie diary app that tells me that's when I watched it. So I know for a fact that was 2020. I watched it. So there you go. I'm assuming you've both seen it before, yeah.
I think this is one of the first VHS videos I got.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
I remember, like, once again, I'm bringing up the garage again. I remember getting it in the garage, but then it's also one of the first DVDs that you had to flip over because it was so long.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I forgot about those. Yeah, like a cassette tape. Which channel would we normally find it on? That's what I'm not sure about.
Oh, I reckon ITV.
I was just going to say ITV, yeah.
With a load of adverts, like 3 hours long.
Oh yeah, like awkwardly cut into in between scenes. Yeah, so yeah, probably an ITV one. Now, which version did we watch? Now, I did a bit of looking around. I was going to watch it on Prime because I've always said how Prime is the best app to watch it on. But I found it actually on Disney as well.
Yeah, I watched it on Disney.
The Disney version is 5 minutes longer. So I was hoping one of you had watched it on Prime. If Andy's still there, did you watch it on Prime or Disney, or did you?
No.
Okay. So I'm not sure what's missing in the Prime version from the Disney one, or if the credits just go epically slow or something like that. But there's a 5 minute differential. But yeah, Disney was the version I watched it on. The original UK version of the film had a butterfly knife shot taken out. So I think it might have been when he first gives me the knife. Which, if they cut that whole shot out, it must be very.
I remember. I've always seen that because it's in DVD.
Yeah.
And I remember him handling her, but I think he does it slightly different.
Yeah.
He doesn't. There's a slow motion like flick out and thingy.
I don't know for certain, but I would guarantee that at some point knife crime would have been a problem when the film came out in the UK. So there must have been the BBFC would have been like, no, we cannot have that happening. And it disappeared again, and I think I know what's coming. Actually, my hair goes from long to short quite a lot, so I'm quite glad it's a matching haircut you've got for me. I'm actually not quite handsome when I see myself like that. I can see why I'm the star of the show here. Right then, point two on the podcast is the high points. What was the best bits and things were about the film? I'm going to let either myself or Andy start. So that's the three heads. Why don't you start off with the high points?
I quite like the start bit. It makes Nicolas Cage out to be a complete and utter bell end.
I've just got practical helicopter and plane stunts to start the film.
Yep.
So that's what we're about on this podcast.
Mine's is like the very opening scene, the carousel. It sets up that personal vendetta between Archer and Castor and why he hates him so much.
Have you ever ridden on a carousel with your young son or child and things like that, Chris?
No,
flashbacks.
I just sit them on it and I stand to the side. So if I get shot, that's it. They're fine.
I thought, do you also do? Sorry for the podcast listeners. Do you ever do this to your children as well? Because this seems to be a big thing in John Travolta's life. Is this?
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but I just grab them by the face and go and smoosh them.
Take their face off.
But yeah, stupid shit like that. But I don't do that stupid.
It's a good setup. Like, okay, all right, no, immediately, okay, that explains why there's a vendetta here. But I think John Travolta's relationship with his son before he died is very strange. Never mind after when he died. But yeah, I was all about helicopter on the runway. That's that. You've got me.
That's how you start film. Like a bit of action straight away.
The whole action sequence like that, and then like when it goes into the hangar and stuff like that. It's like not knowing John Woo, but now knowing John Woo retrospectively. That man loves to jump through panes of glass. Absolutely.
Imagine if he directed Highlander. The glass expenses would be millions.
It's semi a low point, but it's also a high point. If I jump through one pane of glass shooting sideways, I wouldn't be instantly going, right, next pane of glass, jumping straight through it.
There's always seems like there's a better way. There's always like an open door next to the bit of glass to jump through, so I'll just go through there. I did like the film starting with a shootout between the protagonist and antagonist. Like you're straight into it. It's like scene 1, here's the vendetta. Scene 2, here's the good guy catching the bad guy, and it's like, all right.
We've kind of just skipped a little bit. Is probably the highlight of the entire movie is that Hallelujah dance. It cracks me up every time. It's him just bobbling his head and clapping his hands and dancing away.
Have you forgotten the format of the podcast, Chris? Because there might be a reason we missed it out.
I think the dance gets me. What happens afterwards is a bit.
Fair enough. There we go. The next thing, it's a bit of an overall one, so I'll go my next high point. I've just got the premise for this film is so bad, it's good, I think. The premise. And they most definitely went, name of the film, let's name a film Face Off. What do we do with that? People could take their faces off. Aha, right. And then now go make a movie. Me, and that is just so kind of awful that I think, okay, you've actually got something there because of how bad that is.
Speaking of that, I quite like the surgery.
The operation.
Them do that, yeah. I'm a bit weird. I would have liked to have seen them with their faces off a bit longer and just seen them just walk about with no face.
Again, I will leave the one shot where he does have his face off for a different point on this podcast.
Like the quick flash, I would just like to have like seen it. Maybe there's a reason that we didn't.
I like that we didn't see it. I like because your imagination. You're picturing how awful this is, and you're like, oh well, I've seen The Dark Knight, and I remember him with half his face off, and imagine having the whole face off and all that sort of stuff. So I like the fact that, and also the way he's like, getting angry on the phone, and I'm like, oh, I would be like that if you had none of your like lips and all this sort of stuff. I quite like that aspect of it, but yeah,
that like the image as well of is it them putting Castor's face on the Archer and just wiggling it into place. Like it haunts me haunt me for the rest of life, and it just wiggling in the water.
Yeah.
The effects for that are pretty awesome.
Yeah, I thought like special effects wise, like I wasn't looking at it laughing at how bad. I think the actual operation itself was really well done. Any other high points? I've got more.
I've got a few though.
Okay, Andy.
Andy seems quiet.
I've got Nicolas Cage playing John Travolta as a high point.
So, John Travolta.
Oh, sorry. John Travolta playing Nicolas Cage.
So, see,
this is the problem with this film.
Yes,
I'll say how I've got it. I feel that Nicolas Cage is a better Castor Troy than John Travolta. John Travolta is a better than Castor Troy. If you know what I mean.
I would definitely.
I'm saying like John Travolta being Nicolas Cage with the voice. So he looks like John Travolta.
Right.
Okay.
Cage in the body.
Yeah.
So it's Castor Troy is in John Travolta. Is that what we're?
Yes.
Right. Yes, I confirm. Of the four, if I'm ranking it, the best is John Travolta playing the bad guy.
Yes.
That's the best of the four, I think. Yes, I confirm.
However, Nick Cage is the best of the bad guy.
Nicholas, like John Travolta playing Nicolas Cage's voice is way better. His mannerisms, like he's like when he actually sounds kind of like Nicolas Cage.
Ah, right. Yeah.
But yeah, no, like actually, as a bad guy, John Travolta as a bad guy is John Travolta.
I don't know how much trivia Chris has done, but apparently the two of them, Travolta and Nicolas Cage, spent like 2 weeks kind of together before filming to kind of learn each other's mannerisms. And watching the film, I'm like, not at any point did I ever feel like one was playing the moving like the other. It's like you're still just John Travolta.
There was something about John Travolta being. Oh, well, this is hard to explain. When John Travolta was playing Castor Troy as Sean Archer, there was just something about his voice was just more. I know it sounded like he was up his own arse.
Yeah. I definitely think. Yeah, I'll be honest. I kind of think Travolta as the good guy was also better than Nicolas Cage as the good guy. But yeah, I think the best of the four is definitely Travolta being the villain. So therefore, I think that offsets the Nicolas Cage being the good guy.
Yes.
I'm happy with that. My next high point I've got is the prison fight. I've
got the meeting before the prison fight when we see, like, you think, oh, that's it. Castor Troy, this is confusing. Like, Sean Archer as Castor Troy has cracked the case, and that's it. He's going to tell everybody, and then you see John Travolta as Castor Troy opening the door.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that comes afterwards, I think.
Oh, you mean the very first fight with
the fight where he's like, he starts brawling with everyone. You've got Pollux kind of being all like, oh, Castor, in the corner watching him and all that. But yeah, I like the fight. However, my Chris eye came out here. At one point in the fight, he draws back his tray to the right, and then when it cuts, he hits him like that. It's like physically, unless he went all the way around.
Around the world swing.
Yes, it didn't quite work. But yeah, I've got the back-to-back after that. I've got Troy waking up with no face, and then I've got him visiting him in the prison, which I think is where you were going.
That's the twist.
That's probably the best kind of part in writing of the film, because it's a great idea to have the hero who had the upper hand visited in prison by the bad guy who's now working with like the FBI. So it's like he has gone from winning this thing, like Chris says, to you're absolutely knackered now. You're gubbed. Like the guy who put you in there is you, and he's not only you, he's also with the police. So it's like, yeah.
And the little thing is that I've destroyed all evidence. Nobody knows you're here.
Genius.
You're stuffed.
They covered that off.
Yeah, that's really good. I've got a few more high points. Anybody else got one?
I've got the one. My mind is
sets, like the prison set, and then the big prison riot thing.
Yeah.
Like the escape plan mostly worked, and then you find out another twist on an oil rig.
Well, I've got that. Did I have that? I might have that in low points, I think. Yeah, the exterior of the prison is clearly just an oil rig, and there's no way that the prison set could have fit inside it. I had that as a low point. But yeah, the actual prison, I'm still not sure why they needed electronic boots, or whatever it was, electromagnetic boots.
I quite like that. It was genius.
It's
Fun
different.
fact for you, they had the same boots used in Super Mario Brothers.
Right,
And
okay.
was.
Of course, that was made first as well, so they reused them for this. I've got it as a high point. It's weird, but I very much enjoyed Travolta being the villain, getting to his house. So Troy getting it to Archer's house dressed up as Archer. And the two scenes with the daughter, the first one where he is like, oh, the plot thickens, and like when he first meets the daughter and he gets very creepy with her, is an entertaining scene because of how kind of weird it is. But then when she comes home with the boyfriend a bit later, and you're like, even Castor Troy will beat the shit out of like an abusive boyfriend who's going too far. So I did enjoy.
Since you brought it up, that's not aged very well. No.
Yeah, obviously, clearly, but it's enjoyable. I would say it's entertaining. I should say.
Also because of who it is.
Yeah.
I forgot he was in it.
I was literally doing the whole pointing at the screen meme.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris did it. He did the thing.
What?
The what do you call him? The Leonardo DiCaprio, Django Unchained.
Aye.
Thing. Yeah, it was when that guy turned up in the car.
Yeah, how did I do the thing?
Because you picked this film.
Right, okay. You confused me now. Crack on.
Face off.
Face off. I've got 3 more high points. Has anyone got any?
My next one is the big shit out at the hideout. It's just complete over the top chaos.
I love that bad guy.
The bald guy.
Yeah, he's brilliant. I like straight away. I was like, I like this guy. He's a good bad guy.
Yeah.
I'm still not. I haven't got it in my notes anywhere. What was his relationship to Gina Gershwin?
They were supposed to be brother and sister. This has come up in low points.
That's what I thought. Right, okay,
Yeah.
I'll leave it there then. Right, okay, I wasn't sure because I just thought about it there. So, as part of that, the two main characters either side of the mirror, the bit is behind Chris and his photograph on the video, where they have a bit of a chat. But also, it now dawned on me, they don't actually spend that much time on screen together. So it's the first time together since the prison, I think. And then they both go to shoot each other at the same time. And of course, they're looking at the body in which they inhibit, the body they're in, which obviously is the guy they want to shoot. And I quite like that. But also, why is there a mirror on both sides of a wall? Which is, again, that's John Woo set building, I guess, needing to have mirrors and all that. But I like that scene.
Any second.
Exactly. And then they're both shooting each other basically in the forehead and the bullets going through. I like that bit.
This must be like Matrix time before bullet time before bullet time was actually a thing, because they were dodging bullets left, right, and centre.
Oh, yeah, nobody gets like. I won't spoil deaths, but yeah, in terms of bullets fired versus bodies in this film, it's not a good ratio.
I think like the whole listening to it through the head of the kid with the song playing, so you're just seeing people getting shot and killed, and you just listen to Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Yeah, I do like a violent scene, but with a very cheerful soundtrack.
Yeah.
It always works for me. I've got the standoff at the church. So after the funeral, we have basically a Mexican standoff between all the main characters all pointing guns at each other. And some of them know who some of them are, and some of them don't know, and everyone's kind of working with somebody. And then the baddies are actually working with the FBI agent, and then it's all very confusing. But
it was Joan Allen's face when she knows her husband, and she's talking to like that Gina Gershon. Like, "You okay, baby? You do this," and she's like, "Who the fuck you calling, baby?"
Yeah, the looks that she was throwing. Yeah, Joan Allen's throwing at her. I thought it was good. So I have one more high point. It's quite obvious what it is. Does anybody else got any others? And they can also spoil my high point if they want.
I think it's probably the same one as you.
Mm-hmm.
Speedboat.
Speedboats go fast. Speedboats blow up. All that sort of stuff. Yeah, can't knock it. It got an MTV Movie Award for how good it is.
And that stuntman, like getting pulled by that chain, fucking hell. It might have not looked like Nicolas Cage.
Yes, come up later on.
What a stuntman.
Yeah, actual properly stunts was real explosions and real speedboats and real stuntmen. Although as obvious as it was, yes, 2 thumbs up from me for a big
I just like the danger of the fact that if that speedboat lands wrong, it's going to land right on top of one of them. That's it, they're goners. So I like a danger element.
Yeah, and that is the life of a stuntman, I would say. Okay, are we exhausted high points? Anything else good to say? I think that's us. On to point 3 on the podcast, the low points. What we thought the worst bits and things. Okay, my first low point. Whatever Nicolas Cage was doing while he was dressed as a priest, I don't know what. I don't know what he was going for. Like immediately, I'm like, what is
It
this
was
film?
funny because like Chantel went, she's well young, and I was like, and then literally just goes behind her, just grabs, and it's like, oh, it's just got creepy. Even
It's,
like
the dance before that, I think it's fucking hilarious. So him just like bobbing his head and clapping away, he's walking away. It's great. And then you see him go behind her, and you're like, oh no.
But it does sum up the Catholic Church pretty well. So
Right. Yes, Nicolas Cage turned up to like 12 is always a strange thing in the film. You've literally broken Johnny's back. Hasn't he broken him there? I've got quite a lot of low points, so I might just run through these. Like, I'll chime in if there's one that you want to really go with. But I've got suggesting a face swap as an option way too early. Way too early.
I've kind of got that as well. Just like that whole entire mission, like it's just like, why not tell anyone about it, just in case this happens? Just like the 3 people that I've told are killed.
Actual Travolta just wanted to like 5 minutes alone. Said he would get the information. We're like, no, we're going to put him in jail and we're going to swap your face because you're the only man for it. And if that was me, I'd be like, probably about 100 pounds bigger than Nicolas Cage. How are you going to get my stomach making that shrink? I don't have the same hairline as him. My ears are bigger than him. But we'll just take the face off. Yeah, it'll work. I'll be fine. But then the plan almost works flawlessly because he does it within about 5 minutes, and the brother's like, "Oh yeah, we put it in the convention center." And we're like, "Ha, we got you!" It's the worst payoff in cinematic history, I reckon.
It's an all-time bad decision, I think, to go with this. It's like, yeah, they consider absolutely no other option. They're like, oh, the only person that knows where it is Pollux, and he's in prison, so you'll have to take your face off and swap it with his brother. All right, yep, sure, obviously, yeah, let's go. But yeah, and even the fact that Nicolas Cage is not he's not dead. They're keeping him alive. But not so much that he can't then come. I'm sure you can medically induced comas. Do you not have to? You have to stay in a medically induced coma. So they weren't even
handcuff him to a fucking bed so he can't get out.
Somebody working there. There seems to be nobody there.
It's like, right, the guys 9 o'clock have clocked off. Just leave him.
Yeah.
He's in a coma. Don't worry about it.
He's like #1 on the world's most wanted terrorist list. Yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah. And so off the back of that, so John Travolta's decided in his horrible decision of his life, he lost his son. It's still the worst thing that happened to him is this film, I think. Right, you're now Nicolas Cage, okay. Just say the same sentence twice into his computer, and that'll be you perfected, and you'll sound just like him for the rest of the time. And I'm like, yeah, it worked, but how's that? Oh, I could eat a peach for hours. It's like that's.
How did you record that? Anyway, the guy's in a fucking coma.
Well, that was he said that to the FBI stewardess in the plane. He said that to her.
Ah, well played.
Yeah. So for some reason that must have magically, without any prompting, hit every vowel and every consonant noise it needed to form the perfect Castor Troy replica. Which also reminds me, I've not put it as a low point. Later on, when Sean Archer, looking like Nicolas Cage, escapes, he phones his wife, tickles his throat, and as he does it, his voice changes to be more like John Travolta's. Then decides to just phone his wife sound like Nicolas Cage anyway. It's like, you had cracked it. Like, if you'd sounded a bit like yourself, you could have said it was a bad line, but he decided not to go with it. Right, my next low point. What part of the LA Convention Center was the bomb planted in? Because you can clearly see the front door of the building from where John Travolta disarms it. So if there's no security team in LA Convention Center, that must have been days earlier. I think they even say how long it is between planting it and it going off.
6 days or something like that.
Yeah.
And not person goes to the balcony in the convention center and spots, this bomb here.
Open this cupboard, I need to get some new robes out. Oh shit, there's a bomb.
Also, if you're a terrorist, don't set a 6-day timer.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No, there was a reason because there was somebody coming. There was
the hosts and that. Yeah.
But I don't go in 6 days early. Sure, there's a closer.
If any other terrorist plots ever taught us anything, you go in the morning as the cleaners, and you put a couple-hour timer on. That's all you need, max. Because they would have had sniffer dogs out there. They would have had teams sweeping that place. Not 6 days early.
There's clearly no one sweeping the place because that bomb sat there until a second before it was supposed to go off. So there's no security teams there. Right. Okay. Who wants to talk genitalia? Who's primed and ready?
Oh, what version did you watch?
Oh, they swap.
I think I've got an idea what he's meaning.
They swap bodies, and then Castor Troy's body then has sex with Mrs. Archer. So did they?
They had exactly the same size penis.
Do you know what this is really crude? I don't know why it keeps going through my head, but all I can imagine is Sean Archer, John Travolta, Sean Archer, is quite boring. Just like, okay, 1, 2, 3, done. I imagine fucking Castor Troy is fucking like a porn star. Like she's getting fucking flipped around like a trapeze artist.
Your wife's suddenly like, your penis is like 3 inches bigger than it was. What's up with that?
Yeah, there had to be something different, or the surgeon guy fixed both of them to match the other one. So it's one of those two options.
That's making me feel uncomfortable.
Someone may have got a shorter penis out of this. Yeah.
If you look at like the picture just behind Chris, they're completely different body sizes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it just like the whole premise of Face Off is a great idea if they were very similar. Like body swap, that's what this film should have been called.
Yeah, keep the same head. Plug the rest on. Would you say you're Sean Archer and you're the same motivation as him, and you're like you have to go. This is the guy. This is the only way. We've actually gone through all the other options. You need to do the face swap. However, his penis is an inch shorter than yours, so we're gonna have to take. Would you then be like, nah, that's it.
Nah, I'm out.
No one touches you. Well, no, let's just leave it as it is. Nobody's got to see that anyway. But
I don't
apparently.
I tend to use it. It's like
That's pretty much like the same with the scar. Like the whole like, oh, we can fix your scar, but I want it back. It's like, I'm not taking my top off. I'm just going in the jail for 5 minutes. I'm going to get the information out. I'll be out.
yeah.
Like that's it. I'll wear a rubber mask. Like he'll never know.
Because he's the one that's got the scar. It's not like Pox is going to be, show me your chest where you don't have a scar. It's not going to be
a bandage and be like, oh, I got hit really hard by that fan. Like I can't take anything off here.
When I got captured, I got stabbed right here.
Yeah, I got shot, and it's like they've got a bandage on. It's like there was many other ways, not just we'll heal that up as well. We'll shave a bit of your penis off. It's like, well, they went into too much detail for 5 minutes information.
Just get one of those wood planes. There you go. That's it. Done.
Like my next low point. Most of my low points are just like, I don't know, questions I have, issues. So Dubov, the Russian fella in the prison, he has been electrocuted to the point of vomiting and almost losing consciousness, but they can then overpower 4 consecutive, seemingly armed guards, all because a guy he hates tells him, oh, I didn't have sex with your wife and sister. Oh, well, if you told me, oh, fair enough then. I'll help you beat up everybody. And, like, despite the fact I was nearly dead, it just, out of nowhere, bang, I can help you and we're escaping.
That's the rage. That's the electrocution rage right there.
Yes, so. Okay, I've got more. Another one.
Well, I'm going to do my one, which has just been burning a hole through me, is the incestuousness between Sasha and her brother Dietrich. That is just weird.
Like, I don't think at any point in the film was I ever sure what relationship they were. Like,
they keep saying, like, when he's first questioned Sasha, so, well, we've already, no, sorry, he's speaking to Dietrich, he said, well, we've already spoken to your sister, I'll go get her. And then as they're walking out together, they're all like kind of lovey-dovey, and I was like, are they brother and sister? What's going on here?
Yeah.
And then there's that kiss at the just not long after that bit.
Yeah.
No, sorry, not long before that bit.
Yeah,
it's
that's not a brother sister kiss.
No.
Not that I've got a brother or a sister, but and I don't know why that existed because it just confuses matter even more. It'd be better if Gina Gershon's character was just in love with Castor. Really, that would have been fine for the story. So it made no sense for randomly have this incest storyline. My next low point is just another Archer as Nick Cage sneaks his way into his own house, gets in there, and just goes, "Oh." I'm like, what are you doing, Nicolas Cage? What is like? It's just like it's the most overacting, but doing nothing at the same time I've ever seen in my life. It's just like, why
it's
are you?
Scene as well where he's talking to his wife, goes, "Please don't scream, don't scream, don't scream," and then he just starts shouting, "Stupid face!" and slapping himself, and he was like, They're going to hear you, Dick.
Armed police officer in the living room. Yeah, he just starts shouting. Yeah. This is more of another, and as Chris mentioned something similar earlier on. Castor Troy goes completely cold turkey from whatever concoction of drugs he's taking on a daily, maybe hourly basis. And not at any point does it ever feel like John Travolta, when he's embodied by Castor, is jonesing for whatever drugs he wants. I feel like he got settled into being a straight cop very, very quickly without suffering from it. I'm on the very, very, very end of this film now, so if anyone's got any low points before then, chime.
Really? No, not really. They could have shaved a couple of minutes off this film by not using so many slow motion shots. Like he steps out of his car and his jacket flaps up. It's like 5 minutes slow walk.
Yeah.
Majestic.
Oh, that was it. While we're still at the hideout, this is confusing me now. Castor Troy, the Nicolas Cage Castor Troy, who's now Sean Archer, blah blah blah. He runs up a ladder and manages to jump like a 50-foot gap to swing across and knock Pollux Troy off and kill him.
Yeah.
It's like teleports across his ravine.
It looked good though.
It did look good, but he just teleports.
I feel like Pollux is a bit too.
He's a knob.
Really annoying. But yeah, I've got my final low point now. Is it's just like John Travolta as Sean Archer. Hi family, you know your dead son or brother. Here's a kid who looks just like him. He's your son or brother now. Another thing. His father's actually a psychopath terrorist guy, so who knows what he's going to develop into.
Exactly. He's definitely got some bad genes.
He's got the Castor gene in there.
I'd hate to have you're actually adopted chat with him when he finally works out who his father was. Like, obviously, he knows he's adopted, he's old enough to realise, but yeah. Oh, yeah, your dad, yeah, he was actually a complete psychopath and he killed your stepbrother. All that sort of stuff.
I've got one more.
I've got one now before yours. This film's about 45 minutes too long.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
I think he's been in the prison and he's back. I looked at the time, still like another 45 minutes to go. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, I took a tactical shit mid through this film and it's just like, holy hell. It's like I paused it. It's like, how is this not an hour and 20? It's such a long film.
It does peak about 4 times with big action scenes, and all of them could have been the end. It's like one would catch the other. Yeah. Chris, right?
My final point is a little kind of throwback to Highlander. Is more unnecessary flipping. Like in the big standoff at the end of the shooting people, for some reason, Nicolas Cage / Sean Archer does a flip with no cover, just flips and starts shooting. It accomplishes nothing. Do you not?
It does. He sees the ooze, he's like, I can flip to this, and he does.
He just flips and starts shooting.
I blame John Woo for that one, I think. Right then, we better crack on. This is a very, very up and down film. So, on to point 4, the stats. 8 shits. I counted 26 F-bombs. The internet says 30, so somewhere in that sort of region. 54 explosions in this film. A lot. 38 deaths. But yeah, I think about 138 kind of bullets were fired. I don't know. It was maybe more than that. Yeah, a lot. Quotas. No cows, no goats, no dead animals. I don't think there was any peeing at any point. Usually the sort of urination jokes in prisons and all that, nothing like that. Paedophile.
Yep.
Castor Troy, definitely. He's definitely. And no devil, and they're in prison, so there might have been a KKK or a Nazi or someone in there, but nothing specific. A new category that I've been trying to introduce for a while, it's only going to be a quota when it fits. Was there someone from the television show The Wire in this? And yes, Sobotka and Bunny Colvin from The Wire were in this. If you've seen The Wire, you get it. If you haven't, you haven't, so I'll carry on. But there was 2 people. It happens all the time, so I'm going to keep track of that now. This film's called Face Off, so I counted how many faces came off. It was 4. 4 faces came off. Which I had 3 because we never see Nicolas Cage at the end. However, both of the faces would have had to have come off, so therefore 4 faces came off. Right, this is part of our confusion here. Nicolas Cage spends 36 minutes in this film as Castor Troy and spends 94 minutes in this film as Sean Archer. John Travolta spends 52 minutes as Sean Archer in this film and 82 minutes as Castor Troy. So technically in this film, Nicolas Cage plays Sean Archer and John Travolta plays Castor Troy. despite the fact that they're actually the other characters, right? They actually spend more time as the other one. I thought at one point that John Travolta was going to spend more time as both, but it didn't quite work out that way. And then I counted, because it's always annoyed me with this film, there are 16 doves inside the church for some reason.
That was the other thing I was going to...
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Inside it during a funeral, not like it's empty, it's deserted. There's a funeral happening, and there's 16 of them, and a whole bunch outside as well. And did they say the thing? Did they say face off?
Oh yeah,
that one guy.
This is the GOAT I've got. This is the greatest saying of the thing ever. The unbeatable. I'd like to take
counted, I'm going to say 26 times.
Off. It happens only thrice. But I'd like to take his face off. Is like, I bet that's the third thing they come up with. The name of this film, they take their faces off, and he has to say they take his face off. Like perfect. Like, that is the best saying of the thing, and it will never be beaten. Chris, any stats from you?
Yeah, it's been a while, but we've had 3 nut shots in this film.
I forgot you count that. Every time I forget you count that. Yeah,
because it happened, and I was like, oh shit, it's been a while. I'll make a note of that. Troy and Archer face off with each other 4 times.
4 times. Okay.
There's once in the airport hangar. Then there's the bit behind me. Oh no, there's a bit in the prison, and then there's the final gunfight.
And then the chop fight at the end. Yeah.
And then they do that hand thing 9 times.
Weird. I don't know what it signifies. Andy, most pornographic scene?
Reloading of guns. It was so like ASMR like thing. It was satisfying. Just seeing a proper gun reload
in slow motion.
You didn't go for the salmon spawning then, no. Okay, point 5 on the podcast is a 10-point podcast quiz. Andy, it's our quiz master. Why don't you tell us what we're quizzing on this week, Andy?
Right, I like to call this quiz Face Off.
Oh, did you come up with the name first?
Yeah, where you and Chris will face off. Now, it'll change depending on what I can be arsed doing. However, the principle's pretty much the same. I'll give you a question. Bruce has got to answer one part. Chris has got to answer the second part. If you don't get it right, the first person wins, pretty much.
Right, okay.
You'll get to actually go along.
Track as we go along, yes.
So, basically, all these films have had people's faces off.
Okay.
As in, the actors have changed.
Right.
So, we're going to start. So purely
all the notes I've taken for this quiz are fucking bollocks now.
So this is purely films, not TV shows. It is like feature films. That's your category, so it's homed in. Every single one of them has 2 options. Only 2. So the first one, we'll go with Bruce. I'll start.
Okay.
And Bruce, you got to name me the actor. It was, i.e. the question. And Chris, you've got to name me the next actor that played the person.
Right.
So the first one is the film The Punisher. So Bruce, give me somebody that played the Punisher.
In film, someone who played the Punisher.
In film, not TV show.
I can't even remember the guy's name.
What's he called?
I know he plays in the TV show, but that doesn't count, does it? Nah, I'm gonna have to pass. I don't even know.
Right.
I only
Chris,
know one
Punisher, and you get a point.
Is he called Thomas Purejoy?
Nope. You're close. He was in this film.
I know.
It was Thomas Jane where you were looking for. He was the long-haired guy in the prison. The other person you could have had was Dolph Lundgren.
Does he play a Punisher?
He was Punisher in 1980s.
That was it. Okay.
Right. Let's go for Chris. Can start this time.
Right, okay, I've got you now.
So, Sabretooth and X-Men.
Lee Schreiber.
Give me another
I
one.
know the other guy as well, but that's the easier one.
Yeah, this is
This is
I watched X-Men like 2 weeks ago or something like that. I can't remember. I think his name. I can't even. I kind of know what his name looks like, but I'm going to humiliate myself trying to explain. Chris, why don't you tell everybody? Because I've no idea.
Well, no, I want you to officially say that that's it. You give up. So I don't give you the answer.
I pass. On you go.
Okay,
Chris.
Tyler Mane, isn't it?
It's Tyler Mane.
was going to say, I think
Right.
it ends with N, so it technically ends with N.
Bruce.
Hmm.
James Rhodes from Iron Man.
Ah, right. I am cracking under pressure here. Don Cheadle is the easy one, I think.
Don Cheadle. Yep. Chris, give me the other one.
I very nearly said Donald Glover there.
Terrence Howard.
It is Terrence Howard. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a draw.
Double pick.
Right.
It's a draw. Okay, Chris. Thor, and his name is Fandral.
Oh, right, okay. I was like,
Zachary Levy.
damn it.
Zachary Levy is one of them, yes.
Absolutely no idea. Absolutely no idea. Right, pass again.
The other one was Josh Dallas.
Right.
no,
I
we've got that
would
one.
even have got Zachary Levi, and he's the easy one. So I would have struggled with that.
Right, it's you to start, Bruce.
I'm down 2-0 here. Right.
You're looking for Albus Dumbledore in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Right. Michael Gambon.
Yep. Chris. Who else played Albus Dumbledore?
Oh, yeah. I've got the other one as well, so I can show off if Chris doesn't get it.
Well,
Sorry,
technically,
Chris.
Jude Law.
Oh. There's 3. Can I name the other one and win? Is that possible?
No, because it was Harry Potter and the Prisoner of
Ah!
Azkaban.
Right, okay. Oh,
What's he called? Oh,
Right,
Richard
Chris,
Harris.
you were
damn it! Oh, I
No,
guessed. Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Richard
no,
Harris.
no.
Yes.
the-
Oh, God.
No, right. Chris. Jennifer. Back to the Future.
Oh, is that her?
Oh, what's it called?
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
No.
Oh.
Chris, give me one and you win.
Oh. Well, okay, right. I've got a name in my head and it's not her. And I'm trying to think what the real name is. Nah, I'm struggling again here. This is supposed to be my area.
You could have had Claudia Wells or Elizabeth Sue.
Ah,
Oh, shoot, that's who I was thinking
I-
of from fucking
couldn't get-
Boys.
get her name right. I kept having it's Rebecca De Mornay. I'm like, it's not Rebecca De Mornay. Who is it? And it's like, yeah, Elizabeth Shue was who I had.
I think it's Bruce first. Evelyn O'Connell from The Mummy.
Well, Rachel Weisz is in the first one, so I'm going to guess her.
That's correct. Yep. Chris.
I didn't know it was recast, to be honest.
Yep, it's in the third one.
Yep. The Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. Who took over, Chris? Who took the face off?
No idea.
Ooh,
Maria Bello.
still don't
Right.
know.
Chris. Gilbert Grindelwald in The Fantastic Beasts.
Sorry, that.
Bruce.
So, right. So, yeah. Mads Mikkelsen.
Yes, it is. So
Is-
tied up.
Because technically Colin Farrell isn't Grindelwald. Would that
No.
be the Yeah, exactly. 'cause he
Right.
plays-
Who's starting? Bruce.
Me.
Rachel from Batman of the Dark Knight series.
Right, okay. He'll know Katie Holmes, so I'm going to say Katie Holmes.
Maggie
Chris.
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was an easy one.
They get easy and they get a bit harder. A couple more.
Okay.
Right. What's the score?
What is the score? I don't know.
2-2. Somehow.
Was it?
I don't know how it's
I've got
2-2, but
two
it
more.
is.
Right. Chris. Officer Jack Tarvin from Speed.
Keanu Reeves.
Oh, God. almighty.
Yes. Chris.
If it's what I'm thinking of, the other guy is in one of the Highlander films, isn't he?
Well, if he's in the first one, I might know him. Other than that, I'm
No.
gone. Sean Connery.
Jason Patrick.
Oh, right, I know the name.
Is it Bruce?
Yeah,
Bruce.
First now. Oh yeah, it's 2-2.
John Connor from Terminator.
Could have absolutely anyone from this.
Yeah, but is he in? How many is he in? Edward Furlong. I'll go for him. He's the obvious one.
Yeah.
Christian Bale. Fucking hell.
Right.
Yeah, I'll give you it.
But
Uh,
I can't remember that to replay them in Genesis.
The other one was actually Nick Strull.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. So draw.
Was it still 2-2? Right.
To Chris.
Me.
Even number of questions, I think so.
Okay. Who's going first?
That's me.
First. Oh, is it?
Is it?
Oh, it is. Yeah, I said
Yeah.
it for long. So this would be even number of questions.
Right, Chris. This one is purely, got to list the question, the Avengers Hulk.
What?
Mm.
Oh, Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo is one, Bruce.
Well, now I'm kind of confused.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Because it's an answer I'm thinking of, but he wasn't in the Avengers.
No.
Part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right, okay, that changes things. Because then I would have to say Edward Norton was that.
Yeah.
It is Edward Norton, yes, correct.
But you threw me off
Right.
when you said the Avenger because
Yeah,
he wasn't in the Avengers.
Yeah, exactly.
But he was part of the Avengers saga. Right, last one.
Okay.
Going first.
It's me first, but that's an odd number of me going first.
That's all right.
I'm losing, so it's fine.
Okay. Jack Ryan in multiple films.
Jack Ryan. Right.
The Patriot Games was the first one. if that
Right.
helps.
That helps me slightly because I had 2 ideas in my head and he was one of them. So I'm going to go Harrison Ford on that then.
Harrison Ford is one. Chris,
He was one of the 2 names I had, and I'm not sure.
I'll give you a hint. The first one was Patriot Games. The second one was The Hunt for Red October.
Sean Connery?
Nah.
Nope, it was Alec Baldwin.
Right. Okay. I don't
That's
know.
3 all now.
Same character. He was the same character, Jack Ryan. There we go. Tied. Face off.
It's a draw. I guess. Yeah, we faced off and we tried.
I had Tom Cruise in my head, but he's Jack Reacher.
Yeah, I had him initially, and I had Jack Bauer from 24. What's his name? I had him.
Peter Sutherland.
Peter Sutherland. I don't know if he
There,
was...
that's we got 2 extra points for Urban.
There we go. I wish I could remember the other Terminator, the other John Connor one, because I would have broken out his quiz if I'd got that. Right. On to point 6, movies within movies. I have to get the track of parodies and references. It was kind of tough, this one. So the ones I got were either Halloween or Frankenstein, because when he sits up in the bed, he does the full-on Michael Myers sit up in bed when Troy wakes up. The Invisible Man, when he had the bandits round. The Wizard of Oz, because the Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Good, the Bad, and the Ugly with the standoff. And then I knew I'd seen the boat chase from somewhere. Patriot Games, coincidentally enough. There's a speedboat chase at the end of that. I had to research that one, but I recognised it. Now, these are things. The internet tells me this film also references these films: Doctor Strangelove, Grease, Die Hard 2, Terminator 2, Cape Fear, and Star Trek 6. I'm like, fair enough. Well, the internet tells me all these are referenced. I imagine Terminator 2, one way or another, was in it. But yeah, apparently all those. And it never not good. I have to do it. Saying the thing is never not good, and since this is the best saying of the thing ever, I'm saying yes. Saying the thing is always good, always makes me cheer. So I'm going for that one. Chris, the 10-point podcast universe.
Strap in, there's a lot. So I'm just going to rattle through them. So John Travolta, he's been looking who's talking, and most recently Grease as Danny Zuko. Nick Cage. He's surprisingly only been in Gone in 60 Seconds.
I was thinking that as well. We've only done 2 of him, yeah.
Quick quiz, what was his name?
Ooh. What was
Memphis
his
Rain.
name? Memphis, that was it.
Yeah, I've completely
Say
forgotten
Mentos.
He had an annoying little brother in that as well, didn't he? Now I think about it. Seems to be a
yes,
trend.
he did. John Carroll Lynch, he's the main prison guard. He was Norm Gunderson in Fargo.
Well,
I forgot we ever did that film. And he's also the impound manager in Gone in 60 Seconds.
I did not know he was at Gone in 60 Seconds. That was news to me when I found that.
Somebody called Harv Presnell, Victor Lazaro. He was in Fargo as well as Wade Gustafson.
That's Jerry, William H. Macy, his father, the guy who gives him the money to pay the ransom. Yeah,
that's what it is.
And then he was like the chief of FBI, whatever, in this. So yeah, I didn't recognize him, but I put 2 and 2 together when I thought, oh yeah.
Now you've said that, I can see him.
Yeah.
Somebody called Carmen Thomas, who's a reporter, was a senior resident in Blade.
Right. I
Since we had Blade.
Yeah.
There you go.
Somebody called Walter Scott. He was a port police commander. He was Mr. Winston in Masters of the Universe, whoever Mr. Winston was.
I don't know who Winston was. No.
Yeah, one of the SWAT officers, he was called, I don't know what it's called, but his real name is Jason Thomas Campbell. He was a squad leader in Starship Troopers.
Right, okay.
There's loads of them.
Yeah,
There's somebody called Thomas Rosales Jr.
Yeah.
There's one coming up, don't worry. He was a prisoner. He was a henchman in Last Action Hero and somebody called Chico in Running Man.
Chico the Running Man, he was credited in that one. Otherwise, he was uncredited. I had so he was I don't know how he's got this CV where he's uncredited, but yeah.
I've got one more. Our new MVP, that is Bobby Z, makes another helicopter appearance.
Yeah, go Bobby Z.
Previously Jurassic Park and The Cable Guy, all this season.
All this season, yeah, of course. Aye, season 5.
So he is the new Grandel Bush. Grandel Bush.
Well, he got the pilot in that robot film years as well.
The robot film? Oh, was he? Did he fly Ex Machina? Did he fly the helicopter? If he did, that's a belter as well.
Oh, I never even noticed that.
I'm sure about that one. Yeah, that's a good one to look. Yeah. So have you recast us into the film, Chris?
I have. Only because I say "watch your fucking mouth" when people swear. I put myself as Castor Troy, but that only not the weird stuff. Just because he says "watch your fucking mouth." To mix things up, I put Bruce as Sean Archer because we never go against each other very often.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And Andy as the prison guard.
Right. Okay. Let's see. So I had you two swapping. You were the family man, so I made you Archer, Chris. So in Andy's Castor, I just made myself Pollux. I thought I'll just be Pollux Troy.
I was thinking opinion is Pollux because you kind of look like him a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. I'll take it. I had not put this thing. I don't think you guys saw the film, but the guy who plays Pollux, the actor, he was the main guy in the recent Sopranos prequel that came out, The Many Saints of Newark.
He's also in Jurassic Park 3.
Is he?
He's I can't remember what it's called, but he's Alan Grant's assistant in that.
Right. Okay. It's randomly like not in very much, and then all of a sudden he was in, like the lead in a Sopranos film. Just really weird. Andy, have you done any recasting of your own?
Right. I feel like this is the day and age where this one would totally work. Ryan Reynolds, as you could pick, they're interchangeable, and The Rock.
Right. Okay.
I've got to say before, I wasn't a fan of the sequel, White Chicks, because they do this, but change the skin colours. I thought it would work.
Oh, yeah, good point. Yeah.
But no, I think Ryan Reynolds and The Rock, it'd be just funny just watching their faces swap and then their bodies getting huge. Oh, it'd be brilliant.
So Reynolds would have to be the real Castor Troy, and The Rock would have to be the real. What do you call him? Sean Archer. Yeah. But then that doesn't mean The Rock has to play the villain and Reynolds has to play the good guy for the whole film. I'm not sure if that would work. But yeah,
I'd watch it. It's money.
It's as valid as any. They're also a very different body size. There's a lot more plastic surgery going on.
Or you do The Rock and Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. Yeah, that's what I was going.
Yeah, I was coming.
Yeah, I'll lead you down that path as well. On to point 7. Point 7 is Chrissy's Would You Rather. Have you got a hypothetical question for us?
Straightforward one. Would you rather swap faces and lives with John Travolta or Nicolas Cage?
Travolta, I think I would go for it.
Really? I'd rather go Nick Cage because they means you're part of Scientology and stuff.
He's got a comeback now, but then Travolta can't fly planes, so I can be in top.
He's a pilot, and Nick Cage, I feel like that. I think Cage's body will be worse drug riddled than it would be. I think it'd be easier to move around.
I'd love to go full Nick Cage.
That's fine. It's as reasonable. So I've got a couple of hypothetical questions for us that I felt this is what I do now when I have hypotheticals. I'll stick them in this little section because this used to be hypotheticals. So we've already decided who the better Archer and the better Troy were, so I can ignore that one. But could either of you convince your significant other that it was you wearing your enemy's face? Like, how would you go about? Like, do you have a like? I explained this in the podcast after I watched the film Ghost, where Patrick Swayze has to communicate with his wife from beyond the grave. Well, I've set up a plan, so me and Jade, we can now communicate with each other. Like, we will believe a random stranger that comes to us and says, "I'm actually Bruce," sort of thing. So would you be able to convince your significant other that it's actually me because
like if Chris tried to switch with me, I think Chantel would know the toilet habits had changed. Like I'm very specific, very regimental in the toilet habits.
Like clockwork.
Yeah, so like it's just like wait there, he's not had his morning shit. Like as soon as he gets up.
I'd do that as well.
I mean, if it was me, we're scuppered down because I do as well, Andy. So.
That's two of us, so it's not just you.
But then it's just like after pizza, straight away shit. It's just like certain foods. It's just like straight away. It's like
Chippy. So this is
Chippy. They bung me up, Chippies.
But that's her being suspicious of Chris in your body. So say you rock up at the door and you are in Chris's body. Would you be able to convince her
We're in the
that
bathroom. Like, just watch this. This is how you shit.
it's a spectator sport, is it? What about you, Chris? You rock up at the door and you're in Andy's body. Would Nicola believe that? How would Nicola believe it was you?
I don't know, actually.
It's tough, yeah. Like
I just fuck about.
So what the secrets?
I don't want to expose my secret that me and Jade have here because then it doesn't work anymore because everybody knows. But yeah, like we've got a plan now.
I like that you've got that plan. You've sat down, right? This is in writing. This is what happens. If nobody does this, then it's not me.
It's not in writing. It's all up here. We need to remember it. It's in our brains now. This is the plan. It's also like when I come to haunt her when I die as well. It's things I need to do then as well.
I think it's mostly stuff that I've done in the past that she finds absolutely hilarious, which I can't remember myself. It'll just happen.
Humiliate yourself at your own expense and be like, oh well, only Chris knows that, right?
I've fallen down the stairs umpteen times, standing on stupid little toys. So yeah, I might just do something like that.
Right. Well, there we go. I just wanted to make sure, see if you guys get contingencies in place for that.
I am now.
Yeah. On point 8, the nominations for the 10 Point Podcast Awards. I don't have my usual bulk that I normally have, so I'll run through what I have. I forgot to make a couple I've saved for this. So this one, Best Death. You've probably got better answers than me, but I have to mention. As John Travolta escapes the church, an FBI agent drives up to help, jumps out the car and asks, "Sir, are you okay?" And then Travolta just machine guns him and he goes, and I'm like, that was your part in this film. I was just driving up and immediately getting machine gunned. I enjoyed that. Acting. Best acting, John Travolta?
I went Nick Cage.
He's coming.
Travolta.
Cage's worst acting. I'm not
Really?
Oh, it's horrific.
Top.
It's so much.
I don't know what he's like. That's typical Nick Cage.
I don't know if Travolta's good enough to be nominated for good acting. I enjoyed him as the villain, so I think he's pretty good. Best plan. Did Nicolas Cage actually have an escape plan to get out of the prison? Because if he did, it was a great plan. Like, he had a cigarette and escaped from prison. Like that. Again, I don't know if he just did it to skin of his teeth.
Well,
But
I think he's dead because you asked how you get the boots off.
Yeah.
It was magnetized to the ground, so I think he kind of had an idea.
That's up there with Under Siege when he gets a pager, a cocktail shaker, and some ice.
Well, that gets me every time.
Yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy where they need the 4 things to get out of prison and with the joke or whatever it was. Yeah, but if he had a plan, that's the best plan. Best stunt, speedboat jump, the one where it explodes and it drives through the boat. Best Jimmy, that's Jamie, John Travolta's daughter. She's best Jimmy. Worst acting, Nicolas Cage. Worst costume or hair, right? Was Castor Troy, specifically, wearing a fake mustache at the beginning? Or was it just Nicolas Cage that was wearing a fake mustache?
Who knows?
I think that he was supposed to have a mustache.
Right, okay, then that's in worst costume or hair then. Because,
I'd say worst costume is every stuntman, because even Nicolas Cage behind you looks like a stuntman.
Oh no, he's not as bad as the ones that as are flying through the air. Like his hair. Well, I've had my hair cut now, but his hair was longer than Bruce's.
Yeah, exactly. But it's
flapping away.
He's longer as he jumped in the air. Yeah. Most underused. He's so underused. We've not actually mentioned so far. Tommy Flanagan, just as henchman number 1. I think we needed more of a role for Tommy Flanagan, and it also means that this film suits my my theme for the season. In him, he is a Scotsman. And then our A++ awards. Best line. I'd like to take his face. It's definitely best inanimate object. Castor Troy's golden guns.
I put that as best weapon. I wasn't sure if that was a thing or not.
Either way, it'll work for both. Best bell end, specifically Travolta as he's Castor Troy, and worst plan. Well, obviously, let's switch faces with the villain is the worst plan.
I put I'm not telling anybody about it.
Well, yeah, I guess, yeah, keeping it a secret.
3 people, they just all died.
Got killed.
Exactly. Now you need somebody who's not within the plan.
Chris, any more from you? Nominations?
Worst kiss, that weird incestuous kiss between Sasha and Dietrich.
Yep.
I wasn't sure if worst kiss was a thing.
Still going.
I put best effect as the face rippling in the water.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it looked like it actually was a face. Not that we know what it looked like. But, yeah.
You've covered the rest of them. I put Pollux Troy's best death.
Yep, that's fine. I'm happy to concede that. I wanted to mention that guy. That's good.
That's me.
Cool. Andy,
Yeah.
Righty-ho, on to point 9. Point 9, the moral of the story. What lesson were we supposed to learn from Face Off? Andy, why don't we start with your moral of the story?
Never take your face off.
I've gone for a message that was portrayed in the film, which is dress up like Halloween and ghouls will try to get in your pants.
That's better than mine as well.
Oh, sorry, Chris. What's yours?
Mine is basically, if you're going to have a secret plan, always clue somebody else into it. Like, if I had a secret plan, I would tell Nicola.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Again,
and then
contingencies.
Exactly.
Okay, on to point 10 on the podcast. It's the 10th hour of the podcast, so we better get on to this. Where we rate the movie out of 10. Chris, you picked it. I've got you to go first.
As much as we've kind of panned and slated this film, I still really like it. It's over-the-top action. It's enjoyable. If you don't start peeling away at the cracks, then you can still actually enjoy this film, I think. So, personally, I don't agree with you. I think Nick Cage is a better caster and actor, but yeah. So I guess a 6 for me.
A 6 from Chris. Myself.
I'll go next.
All right, go on, you go, Andy.
Because I'll say everything that Chris said is the opposite. This film is like it's got such a great idea, and it goes to shit after the idea's been made. The face-off shit, just shit. The story's like okay, the execution, everything is just dog shit about it. So that's why it only gets a 3.
3 from Andy. I've just got. I'm very similar to Andy. I don't hate it as much as Andy, but it's a film that you talk about films that are so bad they're good. This one's only almost so bad that it's good, so then it's gonna hurt by that. Like it has a hilarious amount of potential, but doesn't quite do anything with it. And Nick Cage just being, I don't know, a maniac doesn't really help it. Which, if that's what you're looking for, it helps, Chris. So I've got a 4 because I actually had some enjoyment watching it. Like, we've talked for hours here about this film because there's so many highs and lows. There's good bits and bad bits. It's definitely a watchable film, I would say. And that would say that I would say it's a 4 actually. I think it's just narrowly a 4 rather than a 5 for Face Off, which is maybe.
That's not what I was expecting. I was expecting Andy to love this film. This is right up his street.
It's late 90s. It's too late in the 90s for him, I think. Yeah, so a 4 out of 10 for Face Off, which is my rating, so I think is fair. That rounds out Chris's theme for the season. Chris, why don't you tell us what your theme was a little before?
Well, it was, you guessed it quite early on, I think.
I think it was episode 2.
It was technology that has been mentioned in films which is now possible.
Right, and this was...
For example, like faces. You can now do face transplants.
Yes.
I'm on the wrong screen here, but I can't remember all the rest of them now. Oh, Star Wars. You can now do holograms and biotic limbs and stuff.
It wasn't 4D or whatever it was.
What was it? Oh, Total Recall. Automated cars and full body scanners and video phones and things.
Mm-hmm.
Ex Machina complete. This has been like a long season. I've forgotten half the films I've even done.
A couple of hiatuses, which means it's going on for longer.
Like AI, like can now like interpret human emotions and stuff. And Cable Guy.
Yeah, sex robots. Yeah.
Cable Guy, like now everything's controlled by the internet.
Literally, the Cable Guy told us what was going to happen 20 years before it did. Yeah. Okay then. On to the next episode, since Chris is finished for the season, and it is the random wheel of random movies to pick its last selection for us. And I am ready, so off we go with the wheel when you're ready, Andy.
Is it working? Can you see the wheel?
Not yet on my end of things.
See the wheel yet?
It has appeared, the wheel of names.
Right, I'm just going to play the jingle and then I'll spin the wheel. Don't laugh at the jingle.
Oh, right, I got to know.
Oh!
That's 7 to me.
Yay! 7. Nearly another very good film.
What was the other one? I can't see it.
It was the usual suspects,
I
think. It's 7 next week. There we go. Another. The wheel picks out depressing films for us a lot of the time. I don't know why. I mean, we get some rom-coms every so often. But there we go. 7, not a bad selection. Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, and, well, a mystery star who is never revealed until halfway through the film. So those of you who've never seen it, there you go. Everyone's got 7 days, we think, this week. Sometimes it's 14. Find 7. I know I own it on DVD. And we will see you next time on the 10 Point Podcast.